Okay, so picture this. You are your younger self playing your favorite video game of all time. Remember the levels that you've experienced, the characters you grew to love, and the music you jammed to in your living room? Now I want you to think about when your favorite game announced its sequel. When it comes to sequels, it can be quite difficult figuring out how to outdo the previous predecessors due to the fact that there needs to be a way to continue the story without abandoning what made the original so successful in the first place. Whether it's films, books, or of course even video games, there were some instances where we were given sequels that didn't exactly live up to its original and quite frankly sucked. But when the right group of people come together to continue a series that was loved by so many, that's when we're truly able to witness something that's even greater than the first game. Like Portal 2, Assassin's Creed 2, Borderlands 2, and of course, Batman Arkham City. When Arkham Asylum first released back in 2009, it was received extremely well by the general public because of how the game created such an immersive atmosphere with a great understanding of the characters Batman and Joker. I think what really made the game even better was having the original voice actors Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman, and Mark Hamill, who voiced Joker, reprise their roles for this game. So with the way things ended in Arkham Asylum, how were the developers supposed to top that? Well, by expanding the world into the city. Batman Arkham City was once again developed by Rocksteady Studios and was released October 18th, 2011. The story takes place after the events that happened in the asylum, with Joker attempting to release Bane's venom out to Gotham and Batman beating his ass, saving the day once again. This time around, Arkham City is a part of Gotham that has been sectioned off into a city for the criminals that have come from Blackgate and Asylum, turning it into a giant war zone, with the main villain of the story, who now knows Batman's secret identity, Hugo Strange. When it comes to the exploration of Arkham City, there was a huge improvement to how you can traverse throughout the map, which I was a big fan of. The fact that you can now use your grapnel hook to reach even further heights of the city with even better mobility was so much fun. And you can even upgrade your hook to give you even greater boost through the AR trainings. Can't lie though, even when I completed the training to get the grapnel boost, I wanted to try to be the advanced training as well. Little did I know, that was a big mistake.
Augmented reality training failed. Augmented reality training failed. Augmented reality training failed. Augmented reality training failed. Augmented reality training failed.
I also liked how there were different territories that were within the city created by the henchmen of major villains in the game. It gave Arkham City a sense of life, and it never felt like the Batman was alone because of how often the henchmen were given random voice lines for the player to listen to throughout the intercoms.
It's cold here. Stop moaning. I'm just saying. What are we doing here anyway? Yeah, I'm freezing here. We're waiting for orders. Penguin just told us to get over here and stop Joker's guys from getting in, so that's what we're gonna do.
Even though there were different districts for you to explore, everywhere you went was complete trash. And I don't mean trash as in the map was bad, but literal trash. This place was a shithole. Every step, every viewing, everywhere. The city was disgusting. And it was perfect. The combat for this game also got a sizable update and made it even more fun to play as Batman when beating up the henchmen. Now, there wasn't much difference when it came to the basic combos since it was just carried over from Arkham Asylum. However, with the upgrade system that was brought back into the game, there were even more combos and finishers that could be implemented as you gained XP from fighting and other activities. There were more ways for you to be creative when defeating everyone around you, and you can even use some of the newer weapons in doing so to help. Of course, you got the classic batarangs and explosive gels to stun the henchmen, but with the addition of smoke pellets, freeze blast, and even an electrical charge, Batman will have an easier time killing, defeating people. Or you can just be like me and punch everyone in the dick as a finisher. Of course, it can't be a Batman game without the stealth, right? In Arkham City, they managed to bring back the stealth in a similar fashion with gargoyles for Batman to watch from above, vents to hide in, and guards that have weird conversations.
Oh, Mr. J, please hurt me some more.
Okay, my dear. Why don't you go and fight Batman while I make a daring escape?
You guys better hope she didn't hear that.
It's cool how the developers have created the environment of certain areas that require you to do these stealth missions, because it really did feel like I was back in the asylum trying to stop the Joker. On top of that, with the new gadgets that I've mentioned earlier, taking everyone out in the room became a whole lot easier. Just be careful when it comes to sticking around knocked out enemies because others will investigate and shoot at anything that moves. Only downside is the AI is pretty dumb. Sure, you can get caught and they'll try to put you down, but if you swing around 3, maybe 4 times, they instantly lose sight of you. I don't know about you guys, but this has become a common theme in video games and it sure as hell wasn't something I was surprised about. I just find it funny how easy it is for a player to simply take someone out while the other guard is right in front of them. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel like the Dark Knight himself. Wait a second.
Flashback.
Arkham Asylum made me feel like the Dark Knight himself.
End of flashback.
Okay. This game made me feel like the Dark Knight himself. The developers even brought back the detective mode system, which really helped out during the stealth missions, and analyzing evidence during my gameplay. I think when it comes to the plot of Arkham City, the writers for this game wrote the best story for a superhero in gaming. Let's just push it to the side. And that's because they had the likes of Paul Dini on board for the second game in the series. He was one of the people that worked on the original Batman anime series, and for those that have watched it, already understand how well written the show was. Not only did Arkham City figure out how to expand the world of Batman outside of the asylum, they've created an even greater suspense than the last. Like I mentioned earlier, Hugo Strange is one of the main villains of the game, but that didn't leave out the likes of Penguin, Two-Face, Ra's al Ghul, Mr. Freeze, and Joker. Of course, everyone had their part in the game, but when it came to the Joker, he outdid himself this time. You see his face? Notice how he looks, well, like he has monkeypox times 10? He's dying because of the venom that was still in his blood from the events of the asylum, and he infects Batman in order for him to find a cure for the both of them. I like this part of the story because it allowed the player to see how far Batman would have gone to save the Joker. Like Arkham Asylum, there were a lot of boss battles that you have to face. I found myself enjoying a large portion of them, with some of my favorites being the fight against Mr. Freeze, Ra's al Ghul, and Solomon Grundy. This game rocks! And even when I thought the game couldn't get any better, it did. Sort of. Catwoman was introduced in the story with her own plot points in the city. I like the fact that Rocksteady gave us a new lens to look through when playing as Catwoman, and original gameplay that fit her character very well. She even had her own upgrade system and gadgets that helped her with her combos and her stealth missions. As fun as Catwoman was to use fighting against henchmen, when it came to the exploration of the city, she sure as hell wasn't someone I was in favor of. She doesn't have a grapnel hook like Batman, but with her trusty whip, she was able to get from point A to point B. To C, to D, to E, to... It just wasn't my cup of tea. But it was nice being able to switch between her and Batman whenever I felt bored. And I like the fact that she didn't take away the focus from the story at all. With a game as big as this, with a pretty sizable map for people to explore, I'm glad there were more things to do outside of the 13 hours of story with the addition of side missions. As you play the game trying to stop Hugo Strange and finding a cure for yourself in Joker, you can do all sorts of things to keep yourself preoccupied, like helping Bane destroy any remains of Venom in the city, figuring out who's been impersonating Bruce Wayne, save random politicians from thugs, and many more things. Some of the side missions were interesting to me because most of them introduced even more villains that are part of Batman's rogue gallery. However, when it came to some of the boss battles, there honestly wasn't much to go crazy over, but it's cool seeing the Arkham series expand on these characters, and with some of them making a reappearance from the asylum was pretty cool. All of them except Riddler. Now, before I go on my little rant, let me say this. Who doesn't enjoy Easter eggs in their games? I personally think it's great that some games have included so many references from different media, and when it's done correctly, it can actually be quite enjoyable. However, when it came down to Riddler and his trophies, I think I would have rather and jam it right down my ass. Got it? In my review of Arkham Asylum, I mentioned how there were 240 trophies that needed to be found. In City, 440. Rocksteady, who in the hell do you think we are? The thing that annoys me the most is the fact that, as a person, I'm a completionist. So I sat in my room and watched Batman Arkham videos to help collect them all. Shoutouts to that channel because without them, I honestly would have gone insane. It didn't help with the fact that in order to complete Riddler's side quest, you had to collect 400 trophies. And with that, I actually liked the side quest quite a bit. But 400 trophies for the final ending? For that 100%? Not worth it.
What did it cost?
3 hours of my life. After beating everything in the story, the game also reintroduced challenge mode for players to test out their skills as Batman, Catwoman, Robin, and Nightwing. That is correct. The game also brought these 2 extra characters as well for us to try out exclusively for this game mode, with the addition of different skins for players to try out, which can also be selected for story mode. I think my favorite skins for sure would have to be the animated series costumes and the Batman Beyond costume as well. There wasn't much change in the sense of gameplay for the challenges, but there certainly has been an increase in difficulty. Predator mode is a game that revolves entirely around stealth, whereas combat is quite literally where you fight waves of henchmen to get a high score. I thought I was decent at the game already, but when I started Riddler's Revenge campaign, I got humbled real quick. It honestly didn't feel rewarding when doing each challenge, so as much as I wanted to be Mr. Perfect, I'll just take my L and stick to custom. But surprisingly enough, that's not all the content the game has to offer. Harley Quinn's Revenge is a DLC pack that is a continuation from the story and is heavily focused on Harley Quinn after the events that happened in the city. In this DLC, you play as Robin, who is investigating the whereabouts of Batman, and he believes Harley Quinn has something to do with it. I don't want to spoil too much on what happens in the story or even in this DLC, but I did find myself entertained at the fact that I was able to listen to more of Tim's voice lines as he made his way through the territory. And we even got to see more of the relationship between Batman and Robin in this DLC.
I'm done here.
Haha, yeah, sure Bruce. No problem, man. All in all, it was a solid DLC and I'm glad that it was added to the game. When experiencing Arkham City with its entirety, you truly start to fall into its world with the characters, the story, the music, the atmosphere, all pieced together into something that is very close to being a masterpiece. The voice acting in this game was very well done, and that's not even including Batman and Joker. The amount of effort that was put into creating this game really impressed me, especially when I watched the behind the scenes, which can be found right here on YouTube. I don't think I was exaggerating when I said Arkham City is the best game sequel ever, because there's not a lot of games that can match what it's done. Sure, there's games with great stories, fun gameplay, nice soundtrack, and big exploration, but putting them all together doesn't happen often. If you haven't played Batman Arkham City, please do yourself a favor and play it. You won't regret it one bit. Unless, of course, you're a completionist. And of course, if you've already played Arkham City, what are your thoughts on the game? For me personally, I'm glad that Rocksteady got the chance to work on the Arkham series, because without them, I don't think we would have gotten anything close to Asylum, or even City. I can't wait to play the next Arkham game that was developed by them.
This city has a problem.
Wait, what? Oh, son of a...